It's an argument that comes up every time. Whenever the unions feel like they need more money. You'd like to think that it's about the workers, but it's not. And we'll get to that in a moment. The same old argument comes up every time. Look how much money the CEO makes. My God, it's ridiculous how much money the CEO makes. The leaders of the UAW, the head of each chapter, makes an average of, recently read it was close to $630,000 a year, and at 600 chapters, that I did the math on this, it comes up to around about $380 million a year that just the heads of each chapter of the UAW are getting paid. $380 million being taken out of the workers' paychecks to pay one person at each chapter. I thought it was about the workers. If it was about the workers, why aren't these guys given that $380 million back? Or at least a good chunk of it. They really only need to make, I'll be fair and give them $100,000 a year. Because really, all they're doing is organizing the workers, right? Making sure that the workers get a fair shake, right? Why does that cost so much? Because it's not about the workers. It's about propaganda. It's about laundering money from the American worker to the campaign coffers of the Democrat Party. And that's where the money from the unions always goes. It's not paying their higher-ups. It's going to pay for campaign funds for the local and national Democrat politicians. It's going to pay for newsletters to go to the workers, which is nothing but leftist Democrat propaganda. Constant barrage of it. Don't get me wrong, I'm not coming down on the workers, because a lot of them still have the common sense that it takes to understand what's really going on. But a lot of them don't, and they get sucked into this brainwashing. And that's why unions really exist. You know, back when they were started, I'm sure, they had the grand purpose of making sure that there were guidelines to help make sure that the workers weren't killing themselves over slave wages. It comes down to pure jealousy and hatred, that green-eyed monster. They have so much. I hate them for it. I've been handed a shit sandwich. I've been forced to eat excrement my entire life, and these guys, they've had it so easy. Why don't you strive to be a CEO? Find your niche, find your hustle, and go start your own business. You put in the risk. You put in the money. You risk your life savings for a business, and then tell me whether or not you're operating under the influence of greed. Some people call greed, I'd like to call self-interest. Without self-interest, nothing would happen. Without self-interest, there would be no farmer producing food for you. They would only produce for themselves. Without self-interest, there wouldn't be electronics. There wouldn't be furniture that you didn't build yourself. Without the self-interest of those who create the products that you use every day, you'd have to make it yourself. This world would still be puttering along in the Stone Age. You'd operate on a barter system, perhaps. I think that would come about. But for the most part, without self-interest, we wouldn't have anything. Those who demand that the government say, you've made enough money, it's time for you to hand it back to us, to distribute it to the people. See, it's never going to go straight to the people. The money's going to go to the government. It's going to pay for huge bureaucracies. It's going to pay for 5 million people to distribute $5 million. Because, we can tax all of the wealthy. We can take all of the money away from every billionaire in the world, and it would still only fund the government for about 3 months. There ought to be a law. No, there shouldn't be a law. The grand hypocrisy that it takes to sit here and say, you shouldn't tell me what to smoke. or what to drink, or who to marry, or whether or not I should wear a dress. But man, that guy's making too much money. You need to tell him he can't make that much money. I don't ever want anybody to tell me how much money I'm allowed to make. I don't know about you, but I'd like to make as much as I can. And I don't want anybody telling me that I made too much. I don't want the government telling anybody that they've made too much money. I don't want the government telling anybody anything. I want the government to negotiate for building of roads and infrastructure. Because the government doesn't build infrastructure. The government only negotiates for people in the private sector to build the infrastructure. Private sector. I want the government to maintain my army and defend our country and our interests. I want the government to enforce our laws that we have voted on, that have been put into place through the Republic, through our representative Republic. I don't want a bunch of unelected bureaucrats creating regulations that nobody voted on, that were not put into place as law through our process of a representative republic. We're not a democracy, we are a representative republic. Negotiate for the building of the infrastructure with private companies. Maintain the army, defend our nation, defend our interests, enforce our laws, and mediate our disputes. Other than that, get the hell out of everything else. Get the hell out of our schools. Get the hell out of our health care. Get the hell out of our money. If all the government did was negotiate for our infrastructure, maintain our army, defend our nation and our interests, enforce our laws, and mediate our disputes, can you imagine how small of a government that would be? Can you imagine how little it would cost to keep that government running? It wouldn't cost trillions to run. I think we could probably get by with billions. We wouldn't be going into debt constantly. There wouldn't be millions of bureaucrats, automatons, and drones sucking up tax money just to exist, just to sit in an office and tell you, you need to fill out this form in triplicate. Wow, I've gone off on a tangent. Anyway, back to my point at hand. Every time that it comes up for some sort of negotiation with a union, it comes down to, this person makes too much money. Y'all need to look at home. Because the UAW is not pure and clean as the wind-driven snow. They don't care about the workers. They want your money. They want the benefits that are going to come from sending that money to Democrat politicians. Easy paycheck for those who claim to be there for the sole purpose of bettering the situation for the workers. As I've said before, if you don't like the situation you're in, if you don't think you're getting paid enough, do something to change it. I myself have had to start over 4 times in my lifetime. I mean, literally, start from scratch, back to the beginning, back to working fast food. The last time I did it, I was making $8.25 an hour. Did I go in demanding $15 an hour? No, because I know that job isn't worth that much. I've gone back to the fast food industry 3 times. I've worked my way out of it fairly quickly, all 3 times, and worked myself back up to a decent level, and continue to strive to do better. This last time, a mere 5 years ago, I was working at Sonic for $8.25 an hour, and I took a step up, and I took a step up, and I took a step up, and let's just say right now, I'm doing much better, because I'm willing to put in the time and the effort. I have been a business owner. Businesses exist to better the lives of those who put up the money, those who risk their lives and their life savings for a better life. This is the only country in the world where you can better your lot in life. There are a lot of people out there, especially the types that sit around and say, well, the CEO makes too much money. They want what's called democratic socialism. Well, there's no such thing. When it comes to socialism, the government controls what you have. The government controls how much you have. The government controls your lot in life. If you want better, be better. Make yourself better. Make your situation better. Improve things. It's really that simple. We are the last place on earth where you have the opportunity to better yourself and better your lot in life and better your situation and bring yourself up from serf to the Lord. Be a Lord. Don't settle for being a serf, and don't blame anybody else for your serfdom. You don't have less because someone else has more. They don't have more because you have less. If you look at the pie and they're taking 60% and giving you 40%, you know what? Make your own pie. Or look at the fact that the pie expands. The pie gets larger. The pie does not stay static. Wealth grows. But only in a system like this. Suck it up, Buttercup. Quit bitching and moaning because somebody else has more. Don't hate. Be them. Do for yourself. Now, quit your bitching and go make $1 million.